Hey guys, Joshua Peterson, Peterson Electric. Third part of this video. I'll try to make it as short as I can. Couple quick things. One, this mounted underneath the toe kick cabinet really well. Again, we have our little thermal fuse on here, or excuse me, our thermostat. It's going to be a rheostat that mounts on it. We went ahead and screwed it to this plate because it was smaller. We didn't want any rodents getting in, and we broke out a fin so we could turn that dial. So this now can act as an on-off switch. If that was by itself, we could have literally just blinked that off, but that's convenience. But it also does this baseboard heater in here. Okay. So when you're buying baseboard heaters, just because you have the wall space and you say, hey, let's add another 2-3 feet, you got to be careful about doing that because it's 250 watts a foot. So if you add 2 feet, you're adding 500 watts. You divide that out. At your 240, you just add 2.5 amps. You might pop your breaker. So you got to make sure you kind of know that math before you just assume you can add length. This is going to be your typical baseboard mounted, okay? This is an electrical heater. It is 240 volt rated, and it is your typical electric fin base. Okay, you have your fins in there, and it's just going to be a ceramic element inside of there. These are a fairly good price. I get mine with Marley. I like them a lot better than the other units that you can get at your big box store. I've had no issue with them. That is going to be a 3-footer, so if we're doing our math, that's going to be 750 watts. Right here, this is going to be your hydronic electric heater. So it still has the fins, but there's a big metal tube inside of here that is going to be feeding through your water for hydronic. It is 1500 watts. It is 6 foot at 250 watts a foot, which is 1500. Now I did a thermal scan on it. They're both cooling the exact same temperature. They're both heated at the exact same temperature. But I have heard claims that the hydronic radiates better through the room. That's a hard thing to prove unless I was here. And the customer said, yeah, go up there for free for one night and stay up there when it's about 10 degrees out. That's a really hard thing to tell people, is this one thing versus another. Now, if these hydronics are 2 inches shorter than your typical fin heater, your electric ceramic heater. So if you're having a space issue, you might want to think about that with the hydronic. The one thing about the hydronic, though, is they do screw in, I forgot to show you this, on the side. That's a little hard to deal with if it's butted against a wall and you're doing a different design, because the wire came up through the floor. We had to drill out this plastic. They assumed we were coming in the side or the back. We actually drilled that plastic out, pushed it down, and then had to screw this cover into the side. So if you butt up against a wall, you might just have to use some silicone on that cover. So keep that in mind when you're mounting them as well. The hydronic did feel a little bit heavier duty. It doesn't seem like it's going to dent as easy as the other ones I see all the time with kids bumping into vacuum cleaners or your doors swinging open. As far as distance off the wall, it's going to be the same common sense. You just put a brick down and you put that right in front of there, and then usually you can push your couch right up there and you're fine. Now when I did heat them up, I had those running at about 178 to 180 degrees. You can keep your door open. This is the best way to test it. You know, if you send me an email like, hey Josh, you're not turning on. Well, wait for a really cold, windy day, open all your doors and windows, and they'll kick on. If they don't kick on, and other ones do and other rooms kick on, you know you got an issue. If you hear a click, you're not going to hear that vibration though. That's the fan down there. Okay, all you're going to hear is a click. Right there. Okay. That's just a dial bimetal thermostat, 240 volt rated. The other thermostats, I already took them to the truck. They only had one leg in and one leg out. Those are not legal. They are still sold at some of your box stores, and I do not suggest them. If you call us up and you want to buy the parts, I'm not going to put that in, because you have to have both legs kill at the same exact time. The reason why, I can show you, pretty simple with this cover. These covers pop right off. You're still not exposed to any hot parts, but both of these are poles. And you can click those yourself That's how you know you're getting a good clicking sound. But these are actually have two legs on them, so they kill both legs at the same time. There's a line and a load. Typically you'll see the whites tie through. Just because you see a white wire, don't assume that it's going to be a neutral. You will get zapped. Here's another thing I wanted to show you real quick. This is something I caught. I opened up the box and it was a little funky. There was a neutral wire coming out of this switch going into this box, and an extra wire, 2-wire going up and through. So we had our 2 whites, our 2 blacks that did the thermostat down here, but they weren't identified, so I went ahead and put a black Sharpie on those whites. But I realized that this white coming out of here, that they were using one of the legs on the 240 side of the thermostat. And they were doing all the outlets and lights upstairs. You can't do that. If you go to set an arc fault breaker, it's going to trip. It's not going to set. And that is a really hard thing to find digging through all the boxes. That could take you a day to dig through a fairly good size home. So right here, and that's assuming that you've had some years of doing it, but right here what I did is I just came up through here with that 14-2 and I tied it and shoved it in the back of the box and fed it through, came off of the light switch instead. So I don't think they're going to see any issue. It's just you can't use a neutral in here and a hot up here, if that makes sense to you guys. Anyways, I think that's about it. So I kind of went over the different types of heaters, the failure on them, and some of the math on it. It's up to you if you want to buy the hydronic. If you guys can send me any information that you had experience on them, why you like them better, I'd appreciate that with the comments. Other than that, I don't know if personally I would pay 3 times the price for a hydronic heater. I don't know if that once that element, if that hydronic could ever pop, and if it did, and that copper tube leaks because it got cold, or if it was in the middle of it being hot at 200 degrees and the water seeped out, could that cause a fire? I'm not sure, but they are rated just the same to put them against the wall. If you're looking up infrared heaters, which I did look up, those are going to be more of your commercial applications, because if you put an infrared heater in here, they have a 5-foot clearance on some of those. So that's definitely an industrial situation, because who's going to stick their couch 5 foot off the wall? You're going to heat your place and pretty much live in a guinea sack in the middle of a living room this size. So keep that in mind. There are different styles and types, but truly this thing was really neat. I had this guy up to, on my meter up to 430 degrees as it was pushing out, and you could see the temperature on the tile change right here, which hints is probably why your tile is cracked right here. The temperature has blown underneath that tile and loosened the mortar over time, and that'll cause that to settle and crack the tile. So keep that in mind when you're mounting that and you have tile in there. If you have a wood floor, definitely would not use a toe kick heater in a wood floor. You are going to dry it out real quick. Carpet, keep that in mind. You're going to have a lot of issues with carpet. Carpet is a nylon, but it will still catch fire. So tile might be your best thing, but big flat fat slated tile might be better. But keeping that in mind, that as people are in this kitchen cutting and dicing and all that weight is standing in that area and that heater's blowing, it is definitely going to change the dynamics of your mortar. Anyways, guys, thanks for joining us. Hopefully that video helped you out. And I don't think I've done a baseboard heater one like that, so let me know if you liked it. And there's 3 videos to this. Thanks, bye.